And welcome back out to the South Point Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we are now entering game 12 of 16. And welcome to the D3Hoops.com Classic. Whitworth and Calvin making their first appearances here this evening. I'm Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh as this is the final game of 6 games today, 4 more games tomorrow. But Whitworth, the number 2 ranked team in the country, and Calvin, a team that has been to the NCAA tournament last year, lost in the second round. Struggling a little bit so far this season, Dave, but still hoping for a good matchup here this evening.
Struggling by their standards. They are still playing. They're still a dangerous foe, and if Whitworth takes them lightly, they're going to be dangerous to keep at bay. Of course, Whitworth, number 2 team in the country, but probably has some things to still prove to many people. And we'll see what happens. I think this is an interesting. I mean, Whitworth got in here last night. Obviously, they're on the same coast, but still, Calvin got in here a couple days ago, gotten themselves situated. We'll see what happens in this one. But this is also a great matchup just because it's Calvin and just because it's Whitworth. Even if maybe one of the programs is struggling by its standards, it's a good one. But it's nice of them to finally get here. We've been waiting for them. I've been here a couple days, and finally, look, we're here.
Exactly. Time for them to finally take the floor. They are the last 2 teams to take the floor for the first time here this evening. Whitworth comes in with a record of 9-0. Matt Logie now in his 5th season and never has won fewer than 23 games.
That's a shame.
In a season since coming to the Pirates. This is Whitworth's 3rd trip to the D3Hoops.com Classic. We welcome them back. Calvin, first-timers, welcome to Las Vegas, and for their fans at home. Yes, it's 11:13 in the Eastern Time Zone. We appreciate you staying up for a little Midnight Madness here from Las Vegas, the city and the broadcast crew that never sleeps.
Well, literally.
Except, during the second half of snoozer games at the end of the day.
I don't think this is going to be a snoozer, no matter what the records say.
I think we're pretty safe in that. And we will get you starting lineups starting here in just a moment. First,
we can go with Calvin if you want. I got them for you.
Okay. You're going to have to mark down the other ones because I'm now reading off the starting lineups for the Knights of Calvin. They will start in the backcourt with a senior guard out of Niles, Michigan, number 10, Austin Parks. Joined in the backcourt by a sophomore guard out of South Haven, Michigan, number 20, Tony Canoni. In the backcourt as well, now is a senior out of Grand Rapids, number 34, Jordan Daly. Moving to the front court, a junior forward out of Bluffton, Indiana, number 22, Cameron Denny. And Mike Siegel, a sophomore forward out of Fremont, Michigan, wearing number 50. For the Pirates of Calvin, starting in the backcourt with a 6'0 senior guard out of Kirkland, Washington, number 3, Matt Staudiker. Kenny Love, a 6'1 junior guard out of Santa Rosa, California, wearing number 5. And George Valley, a 6'4 senior guard out of Bellevue, Washington, wearing number 32. The forward, Christian Jerlina, 6'5 junior forward out of Sydney, Australia. And the postman, the big man in the middle, is a 6'10 junior out of Stanwood, Washington, number 40, Drew Sears. The Knights of Calvin come out in the maroon with black numbers and gold trim. The Pirates with the white and crimson numerals in black trim, and we'll get it started here with Whitworth attacking the basket to our right in the first half.
Quick note, live stats apparently not loading on the viewer end, but that's not on this end, if that makes any sense. Somewhere in between something's happened, but keep trying. They may load eventually.
Oh, we'll see how that goes. And Kenny Love with the first basket of the game off the glass for 2, and we're underway.
Quick mishandle there on the other end by Daly.
Love stops, pops from 22, and hits that one. Quick 5-0 lead, all off of the hands of Love.
Well, there you go. Kenny Love, 5. Calvin, nothing. We already know Love's pretty darn good talent. There's a lot of other players on this team that we're going to be talking about too, but Kenny Love has made a statement to start this D3Hoops.com Classic.
Turnover on the baseline.
Second one.
For Daly.
That's 2 turnovers and 2 possessions for Daly.
Lots of familiar names on this Whitworth squad if you followed them during their tournament runs of late, or even here at the D3Hoops.com Classic a couple of years ago.
Kenny Love's on the permanent all-name team for the D3Hoops.com Classic.
He's a many-splendored offensive player.
Absolutely.
Here in the early going.
A way to keep his foot on the floor.
As Sears back outside, 4 seconds to shoot. Here's Love launching.
Why not?
Burying that one as well.
I mean, why not?
3 for 3 for Kenny Love. It's 8-0.
Kenny Love almost looks a little like Justin Sweeney out there. Wow, I just felt like it looked like him. Playing a little bit of a zone matchup here is Whitworth.
Baseline with it is Denny.
Oh, nice cut into the lane. Going back door was Siegel. He'll get the foul here as he got shoved from behind. I'll have to keep track of fouls a little more because of live stats.
It's amazing what happens when you no longer have that crutch,
yes.
right? Imagine we used to keep score ourselves.
Yep.
We're
I think they said it was on daily, but I actually did not hear it as well as I wanted to. But it doesn't matter. It's still the first on. I couldn't have been daily. That's Calvin's player.
Makes them both. First 2 points of the night for the Knights, and it cuts the lead down to 6. Pressure here in the backcourt for the Knights. Love passes it across the timeline for Stodiker, and he gets it back. 18-11 to go here in the first half. 8-2. Whitworth with the lead. Love swings it near side for Jerlina. Steps in, 16-footer. Off the front of the rim, no good. Daly with the rebound for the Knights. Bounce pass, nice little backdoor look.
There was 2 good things on that offensively. Great backdoor cut in the pass, and then terrific defense to recover and get the block.
Kenny Love driving baseline, and it rattles around and off, out of bounds, and it will be Knight ball.
It is still Kenny Love 8 and Calvin 2.
It's Kenny Love 8, Mike Siegel 2.
That's true.
It's easy to say that when there's
saw,
just 2 points.
You know, we were talking about Calvin just not being on their game, essentially coming in here at 4 and 5, and I saw Coach Vandestreek. He says, we're not that good, and I want to say to him, by whose standards? Yours? Okay. By a lot of other schools in Division III, they'd love to be 4 and 5 with your schedule.
There's a 3 ball on the way in the corner, and good for Austin Parks.
It's all relative sometimes.
Love with the basketball. Jerlina, 19-footer, rattles out. Skying for the rebound is Siegel. Calvin with the basketball, down by 3.
According to this, we already have a final in this game.
Ah, well, there you go.
So let's mark it down, see if it gets there.
A final of, yeah, because they uploaded the wrong stats onto this game. That's part of the problem.
If
here.
that's the actual final?
Exactly the same.
Wow.
Exactly the same as the previous game.
Soothsaying.
That's unlikely. Maybe that's the live stat problem.
That might be it, yep.
They're posting it to the wrong game.
8-7 here, Whitworth.
Jerlina swings it out in the corner.
Got these.
Stodiker dribbles it. Yeah, welcome. It's this game. Love for 3.
Oh, I flipped them.
Buries that one as well.
Why not?
Kenny Love on fire, and it's 11-7. Whitworth with the lead on Calvin. It would be a nice time to have a under 16 media timeout so we could
catch up.
Help them out with their live stat issues over there.
Man-to-man now from Whitworth. Played a little man-to-man, played a little matchup zone, though Kenny Love has been switching off a lot.
Yeah, clearly very important on the offensive end.
Yeah. And a push-off's going to be called on Calvin here. That is going on. Daly, who's had a rough start to this game, picking up his first foul. He stays in the game, though, and checking in will come 35, Preston Huckabee, freshman guard from Grand Rapids. Apparently my sheets don't have a height. So gauge his own height for yourself.
Did you not notice that when I was doing the starting lineups? Felt a little awkward.
No, I just noticed it for the first time, and I looked at that sheet about a dozen times before I printed them.
Stodiker with the basketball, has it knocked away. Calvin.
Also in the game, Nate Trews, who has the ball, by the way.
Pulling out the 2-on-2 fast break. Denny caught up on the baseline, back outside for Drews. Shot clock at 16. Wilkes dribbling in for the baseline. Back outside, Drews. Around the defender, layup doesn't fall. Rebounded by Sears for Whitworth. 11-7 the score, with 15:08 and counting remaining in the first half. Love backs it out between the circles. Shot clock at 15, gets a screen. Kicks it outside, Jerlina. Steps in, 16-footer, no good. Rebound battle for and come up with by Calvin. All back the other way, and an easy layup for Jordan Daly. Transition, easy two. The lead is down to 2, 11-9. Love, all 11 points here in the early going for Whitworth, and he will let that one fall a little bit short and committing a foul in the process.
No, it's going to go on Drew Sears.
I kept it vague.
Yep, Drew Sears picked it up on the rebound. Got a little heavy-handed getting into position. Checking into the game for Whitworth, Ben Bishop, the 6'8 freshman from Olympia, Washington. Also checking into the game, number 22, Derek Isaac, 6-foot guard, junior from Cooley City, Washington.
Wilkes, stop, pop at the foul line, 14-footer, rattles it home, and we're all tied up at 11 apiece.
Well done, Calvin, to let Whitworth kind of get out to a nice, comfortable start and then respond accordingly. Good job by the Knights to stay in this one early.
Derek Isaac swings it outside for Valley. Back outside, Isaac loses it off of his foot. Welch there to collect the loose ball. Up ahead, Drews on the baseline, jumper, no good, long by Wilkes and rebounded by Whitworth.
Whitworth traveling on the far side. Jerlina got the ball into one hand, was trying to look for help, was being harassed by the defender, and dragged his pivot foot as a result, and a timeout's going to be called here by Whitworth. It's going to be a full timeout, as Coach Logie doesn't like exactly how his team's not really in sync here to start this one.
Well, we'll take a break with 13:45 to go here in the first half, tied up at 11. Back out here at South Point Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, the final game of 6 here tonight at day 3 of the D3Hoops.com Classic. I'm Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh courtside. Game 12 of 16, is that right?
No.
Yes,
yeah,
it is. We got 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now now we're getting close.
I was doing reverse math.
Yeah, now we're getting close to the end. We can subtract tomorrow's games instead of adding yesterday's and today's.
We're finally over the midway hump and roaring towards the finish.
It's all downhill from here, but Calvin and
Hopefully
Whitworth.
not for these two.
Yeah, Calvin and Whitworth have just gotten here, basically. Their first 6 minutes and 15 seconds of action here in this tournament. And it has been the Kenny Love show for Whitworth. He's got all 11 of the Pirates' points, but Calvin has battled back to tie this game at 11 apiece. They have the basketball here, going right to left across your computer monitor in the first half. Kronmeyer backs it back out between the circles, shot clock at 10. Dumping it inside, reverse layup, no good, but Michael Welch is going to draw the foul.
I think Ben Bishop's going to pick up the foul here. Bishop, it is on him. Team's 3rd foul. So far a good game. Calvin hasn't committed a foul at all yet, but it sends Welch to the line where he's a 76% free throw shooter, and he now gives Calvin the lead.
First lead of the night for the Knights. Second shot on the way, and that one's good as well.
So after allowing Whitworth to get out 11-2, Pat, they are on a 12-0 run, or 12-0, yeah, 11-0 run, 11-0 run. It's 11, it's a long day. 11-0 run.
It is 11. It's not 11-11 though. It's 11:26
No.
if you're in Eastern time. There's a step up 2 for Isaac, and
somebody other than Love has scored.
That is true.
Isaac gets on the scoreboard there, ties the game. Calvin still with momentum here. Again, Calvin can be not having the season they expected, but that doesn't mean they're not a tough test here for Whitworth and get 2 more points.
Yeah, nice shot from the elbow there for Michael Wilkes. Calvin being very patient, moving the ball around, finding open shots. Not all of them in the paint, but they're sinking their mid-range jumpers right now. Jerlina pops it outside for A.J. Grant. Steps in, baseline jumper, and that one goes in, 15 all.
Landed a little bit weird. We'll keep an eye on him. Back to Calvin, though. I mean, what they're doing is just letting what come to them. A couple trips down the floor at the beginning of the game wasn't pretty, but now they're just letting the game come to them, and they're not over-pressing.
Siegel with the ball on the perimeter, gets it underneath.
It's a great pass.
Yep, shot no good. Offensive rebound. Putback attempt is unable to even get off the ground, and Wilkes loses it out of bounds, and it will be Whitworth ball. Kyle Roach checking into the game for the Pirates. Matt Stodiker back in. Checking back for the Knights of Calvin, Jordan Daly. He returns to the game, and now we're just going to send people
reset.
one at a time
just reset
to the table.
This is what we're supposed to get rid of in the game.
Well, the nice thing is it's the last game of the day.
Yeah, but still, that's the kind of stuff that the coaches and per the NCAA rules were supposed to get rid of. Just get the guys into the game. I want to thank our good friend Matt Snyder out there. He's listening into the game.
Is he watching too?
All right, probably watching.
Forrest Baker gets a nice roll. And it's 17-15 Whitworth. It's a good night for Division III basketball. It's been the first real full day of D3 after the Christmas break. Is that right? Or was that yesterday?
I don't know.
The days all run together. I had to check with Gordon because he was the one who said that sometime in the past 12 hours. Nice spin move, little fall away, but a little off to the left, but the putback is good.
Daly gets the putback, fell right into his lap, went right back up, ties the game at 17. That was a really nice move at the top. Shot just wasn't on.
Yeah, it was really pretty, actually. But Daly there to collect the offensive rebound in the basket.
Ooh.
Here's a 18-footer. That's air ball by Forrest Baker.
Thing.
And again, a putback.
Valley puts it in this time, just falls into his lap. But, this is a game we're going to be talking about come February and even March.
Here's hoping.
When you're talking about teams, whether they're in the NCAA tournament, who they've played, common matchups.
Well, that's what we were going for when we set this pairing, right, Dave?
Absolutely. Well, I saw Whitworth and Calvin were coming. That was a no-brainer.
Yeah, this is a fun game. I've been looking forward to this.
Wasn't this one was probably the first one we wrote in, and then we went everywhere else.
And then fill in the rest of the field. There's George Valley goes baseline, and Kevin Vandestreek wants a timeout here. 10:21 to go, 21-17. Yeah. Whitworth extended back to a two-possession lead after it's been very back and forth.
Kind of saw his defense getting out of almost losing it a little bit. They'd done so well to kind of shut Whitworth down there for a while. Whitworth was starting to make adjustments. Now he wants to get Calvin kind of readjusted again, and especially on the offensive end where they haven't gotten a couple to fall. That's not necessarily because they haven't had good looks. Just hasn't gotten to fall. I think it's a good time to time out with 10:21 left here without Whitworth getting on another major run here that will be harder to dig out of.
Glad you joined us here earlier this evening. If you're a Northwest Conference fan, know that Pacific Lutheran defeated Wisconsin Stout by the score of 73-56. Earlier on, also, St. Vincent defeated Ramapo by the score of 73-71 on a basket with 1.3 seconds to go by J.C. Howard. That's been the thriller of the tournament so far.
Yeah, that was a heck of a game.
We have a tight one here in the early going. 10:17 to go in the first half. Whitworth with a 21-17 lead. Calvin with the basketball, moving right to left here in the first half. Denny picks up his dribble. Short bounce pass to Daly, who was about 2.5 feet from him. Daly drives and has it knocked out of his hands. Shot blocked for Matt Stodiker, and the Pirates come back the other way.
Nice job of Matt Stodiker, who got beat on the dribble, but was able to recover to get up there and swat the ball out before the shot got too high.
Cleanly.
Yeah, got it very nicely.
Just moving the ball around on the outside. Here's A.J. Grant on the wing for Baker. Dribbling out of the corner is Staudiker. Grant with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Back outside, reversing it for Staudiker. Dribbles in, lifts a floater, airballs it, but Calvin comes up with a rebound. Calvin would have had the basketball anyway, as the shot did not draw iron, and there was 1 second left on the shot clock.
Yeah, a little hitchy there.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure Denny wanted to shoot that.
Denny knows what he can hit, though. He's a 44% three-point shooter. Type in there on the other end for Kyle Roach.
I just don't think Denny, when he went to pump fake, I think he expected the defender to be closer and would then make a move. And when he realized he was wide open, he hitched. And at that point, his shot was just the flow of taking the shot was all off.
23-17, Whitworth's lead edged back out to 6. Here's a bit of a fall-away three, no good for Parks. And a foul come up on the rebound.
No, it'll be just out of bounds. Touched it with a foot out of bounds. So it'll go back to Calvin.
Calvin with 11 seconds to shoot here.
But didn't have full possession of the ball.
Right, so the shot clock did not reset, and that's correct. For those of us who have run shot clocks in our lives,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. That's about some of the rules that haven't changed.
Yeah, that's true.
That's about it. How the clocks run has pretty much been unchanged.
And launching a three, Parks off the back iron, too strong. Rebounded by Sears for the Pirates. Number 2, Whitworth. Coming into this game at 9-0. Taking on Calvin, and a nice feed underneath to Sears from Kyle Roach for 2.
A great feed. Roach allowed the defense to collapse on him and then just dumped off. Because it had to be the defender from Sears that came to Roach, Sears was wide open.
The lead is back out to 8 for Whitworth. Out on the wing, 3 ball on the way. This one goes around and off for Denny. Long rebound, and
now you got a foul on the baseline.
There you go. See, now I'm just waiting. They're not like throwing flags or anything in this sport. That's the first thing I noticed after what I've been doing the last 16 weeks.
Valley picks up his first, team's fourth. Valley, who has started every game of his career, all 98, including tonight. Pretty impressive for any program to do that, especially one that is as good as Whitworth has been. Nice little give and go at the top. Denny looking for an option, goes to the corner.
Yep, 3 on the way for Parks. Off the rim, and a battle on the rebound. It's a good thing this is the last game of the night. I might have said that a couple times already, but a few whistles now here over the last couple minutes.
Well, the refs just don't want them fighting inside, and they're clearly calling it. The guys are going to have to figure that out.
And basketball is an indoor sport, so don't
fight
inside.
Yeah, Jerlina picks up the foul, by the way. But it's just one of those where they don't want the contact in there, so let's see how the guys adjust to this.
Denny double-teamed on the baseline, tried to get it across the other side of the lane, but Valley there to intercept it. Jerlina. Now dribbling up the baseline is Valley. Valley kicks it outside wide open for 3 from Staudiker off the left, and rebounded by Calvin.
Nice look. Just didn't get it to fall. We've seen some interesting shooting the entire tournament here. I mean, it's just some numbers don't add up. And some guys have had trouble finding the range.
Well, I thought you were talking about the scorebook there for a second.
Well, there's that too.
So far this game, things are adding up as far as we can tell, other than the live stats, which belie the term live and, for that matter, also stats. Jerlina with the basketball now up top. That's Staudiker. Foul line extended Valley. Nice little give and go, but Staudiker found his way blocked, dribbled around it. 3 ball on the way, no good by Roach, and Calvin with the rebound. On the run, 4-on-2 fast break. Up ahead, Meppelink with a right-handed layup. A little too strong off the glass, and Sears cleans it up. Other side, Valley off the glass, no good, and a easy rebound there for Welch.
I don't think Calvin really wants to get into an up-and-down game here. But that's what has developed with these quick offensive sequences.
I mean, they have averaged 80.6 points a game, but there's
Okay. Player control foul is going to get called on Calvin's Michael Welch. Okay.
How do you really feel?
I thought maybe it was a good no call, to be honest with you. Yeah, there was contact, but I think we got. Oh.
Now we're going to take 7 subs one at a time.
Well,
Kenny Love is back in the game.
Clock operator is also hitting the button every time a player walks up. So
maybe not.
He didn't have to hit him 3 of the times there. But anyway, fouls called there, as we mentioned, on Welch. Yes, contact, but I think both players kind of initiated it. It's just one of those where they just kind of came together. It wasn't necessarily a foul.
Alberto De Miguel in the game for the first time for Whitworth. Jurlino with it. Back to De Miguel, and a pass underneath, looking for Ben Bishop for a little backdoor. Overthrows the 6'8" post player out of bounds.
It's too bad. Bishop was actually a terrific position for most of that possession. Got just had battled off his defender, who I think he had Welch on him, and just did a terrific job. They just couldn't get it to fall, and then Calvin down the other end. Parks with a great idea to go for the pass on the baseline. His teammate just didn't cut fast enough.
Parks will take a seat. Tony Canoni comes back into the game for the Knights, who trail by 8, 25-17, under 6 minutes to go here in the first half. Glad you joined us for the last game of the night. A little midnight madness if you're on the East Coast in this game, and there is a timeout called by Whitworth.
Kenny Love saw his team in trouble and turned to the referee and called timeout. The referee didn't blow it till it was in the midair, but the ref clearly saw the timeout called while the possession was held. It's a 30. No, they're going to call a full.
Full timeout. When we take a second to look back over some of the other games in top 25 action here. This afternoon and evening and morning, if you're out on the West Coast like we are. That's a lot to get adjusted for, by the way. Games going on this afternoon or evening. Top-ranked Augustana survived against UW Oshkosh by a score of 67-65. Was 4th-ranked Hope all over Messiah, 80-58. Elmhurst, the number 6-ranked Blue Jays, defeated Concordia Chicago, 99-52. 8th-ranked Marietta holds on against Mount St. Joseph for an 83-80 win. John Carroll.
It's a good result for both teams, by the way.
True. John Carroll over Brockport State, 111-96. Remember, Brockport went to triple overtime the night before. Yes. Also, John Carroll avoids Brockport State getting revenge for the 2000 national quarterfinals in football.
Talk about
useless,
way back,
completely
different sport machine.
Let's see, 11th ranked Christopher Newport over former conference rival Shenandoah, 80-69. It was number 14 WPI over Bates, 58-51. East Texas Baptist, now number 15 ranked, defeating Southwestern 70-60. There's somebody who's floated in the poll.
Yeah, I think as one who's voting for East Texas Baptist, not that high.
Not at the 15, right? Yeah. Okay.
I will say that even I sit there trying to get a gauge on what's going on in Texas, as Kenny Love's got a gauge of what's going on with the three-point line.
Yeah, he's got the range.
And Calvin throws it away.
Biggest lead of the afternoon. Biggest lead of the night for Whitworth.
Because we haven't looked outside to see if the sun's actually gone down yet.
I did. I went out and got some fresh air during Game 4. Otherwise, I was not going to make it to Game 6.
No, but back to East Texas Baptist. I think it's just a hard gauge. I've certainly gotten befuddled with what's going on in Texas because I thought Hardin-Simmons was going to be the team to beat down there. Turns out it might be Texas Lutheran.
Valley kicks it outside for Staudiker. His 3 no good. Battle on the rebound, and that will be a foul against Whitworth, the 6th team foul on the night.
Go against Valley. That'll be his 2nd. Yep. So that will be interesting. With 2 fouls, 5:16 left, there's no way Coach Logie wants to have Valley out there for much longer. He does go to the bench. We'll see if he stays there for the rest of the half. I don't know if you want to do that necessarily.
Well, Valley's a guy who is averaging 15.9 points a game and 7.3 rebounds, but team's up by 11. Kenny Love clearly still has the range after getting a bit of a breather, so might be able to get by without him for the last 5-0 whatever. Coming to the basket and drawing the foul is Michael Welch. He'll have a shot at the 3-point play.
I really appreciate it when a player just goes strong to the basket. And I'm not talking about going strong and then trying to adjust because he thinks he's going to get hit. I just mean going for it.
Yeah.
If you're getting hit, you get hit. But if you go up strong, you're going to most likely make it. It's when you start adjusting to avoid being hit that you're going to miss a shot. That's just textbook basketball right there.
And he finishes the 3-point play, so it is lead cut to 8, 28-20. Meanwhile, the stat crew people keep putting in last game's box over this game. And that makes it very difficult for us to tell people it was not a 73-56 final.
Well, I wrote it down in case it happens.
Well, all you have to remember is it's the same score as the previous game.
I'm just saying.
Uploading the previous
That would
box.
be fascinating.
Fascinating. 4:40 to go here in the first half, and a turnover for Whitworth. Daly with Welch with the basketball.
Daly was just kind of like, what are you going to do? I'm waiting.
There's Daly, and ball knocked out of bounds.
One of those moments where I actually saw Daly's head bouncing with the ball. Like, yeah, I know. Just can I have the ball?
Hello. I'm here. I'm here to play.
Checking out of the game, we'll go Staudiker back into the game. A.J. Grant, 6-foot guard from Newburgh, Oregon. Beautiful part of the country. They finally got to visit the Northwest, just not for basketball reasons.
You didn't say that loudly enough for Mr. George Foxboy over here to hear that.
Beautiful part of the country?
Newburgh, Oregon.
Yes, oh, I know.
Specifically Newburgh.
Specifically Newburgh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, of course, A.J. Grant, there's a reason he's from Newburgh, Oregon. He played for George Fox last season.
Yep.
Now he is the backup point guard for Whitworth.
Actually didn't play in 14-15.
Yeah, right, not last season, year before, my bad. I didn't hear what that was, Justin, but that's okay. Jerlina with the basketball, shot clock at 11. Picks it up. Back to Love.
Nice battle inside.
Back to Jerlina. Goes left. Dumps underneath on the baseline. 3 to shoot. Trying to get it off. Shot no good by Sears, and Calvin with the rebound.
Nice block there by Siegel. Coming over the top with help defense. Got it clean on the shot by Sears.
3:21 and counting. Driving to the basket and putting it in for 2 is Jordan Daly.
Jordan Daly making up for a rough start to this game. First 2 possessions, coughing the ball up. Nice little effort there to get a couple more points. Calvin bringing themselves back into this one.
A.J. Grant should be noted. This is just his second game back. He missed last season with what was termed by our George Fox insider over there as major shoulder surgery, as Jerlina hits the baseline jumper. Huh?
Thought maybe it was soul searching.
It could be that
didn't
too.
know where we were headed.
I almost said soldier surgery, of course, because it's late. And baby, it's cold outside. Welch, top of the key, swings around near side for Daly. Daly, back for Welch. Long arm comes up with that ball that was thrown behind him, switches hands, brings it in for a layup.
While being hugged all at the same time by the defender for Whitworth.
Nicely done. They should motion capture that for a video game.
They tried to do a little bit of that, of switching off on defense there for Whitworth, and Calvin took advantage of it with a little bit extra speed.
Love for Grant, 3 ball in the corner, off of the front rim, rebounded by Canoni for the Knights. Trying to cut the lead, which is 6 here, coming up on the 2-minute mark of the first half.
Nice feed inside as Parks hit Siegel, who then got fouled.
So Siegel will go back to the line. 6 of 10 from the line on the season. Made his first 2 here earlier tonight. And first shot on the 1-and-1 is no good. Now Whitworth with the lead in the basketball. Kenny Love kicks it in the corner. Jerlina, ball on the way, shot no good, too strong, and rebounded by Siegel for the Knights. Back the other way, Canoni kicks it back outside. Looking at a 3 ball is Daly. Steps in, steps back, 19'6", and that shot rattles home for 2.
Nice job just staying in this.
I was going to say, it's 1:27 left. You don't have to go do the post-game.
No, not yet. Well, I was looking for the earpieces, which are not. Looking for the other receiver. It wasn't working. No, it's no.
The other one?
Yeah.
The other one?
I have 2, and that one's not working right now.
Jerlina with the basketball, dribbling in. Floater off the rim, no good.
Sears had it and then lost it.
There's a 3 ball on the way on the other end. Parks' shot rattles out, and it's rebounded by Sears for Whitworth.
When's the last time we had a whistle?
You're not asking for one, are you?
No, I'm just.
We did shoot 2 free throws a minute and a half ago, but other than that, not a whole lot. Ooh. And there's Kenny Love going to the rack, and he'll be going to the line.
I think the foul is going to be on C.J. Johnson? No, wrong guy. Canoni. Yep, his first.
Kenny Love, who scored the first 11 points of the game for the Pirates, came back, hit a 3 after an extended break, goes to the line where he's a 93% free throw shooter.
I apologize to those watching at home wondering what was going on. We had the wrong score. Just updated it. It's correct now. 31-28, Whitworth the lead.
I should remember when you step away to do the halftime interview that's my job now too. Love, the Northwest Conference Player of the Year last season, accounting for not the majority, but a significant plurality of the Whitworth points here in the early going as he hits the second free throw as well. Parks brings it across the timeline. Remember, with that new shorter shot clock this year, there's a significant differential between game clock and shot clock. A 3-ball off the back iron, too strong, save from going out of bounds, but Love comes up with it, and Whitworth can hold for the last shot.
I think they had a chance there to go, and Kenny decided it was a smarter move not to.
Logie was very enthusiastic about some decision, whether it was the one that he made or the one that he wanted him to make, I'm not quite sure. But have an opportunity to up this lead to 6 or 7 here as the game clock is down at 8. Love steps back. Game clock at 3. Puts it up from 25. Off the iron, no good, and we'll go to the half with the score 32-28. Whitworth with the lead, had led by as many as 11. Now goes to a locker room with a 4-point advantage, and we will send it over to Dave, who has Coach Matt Logie.
Thanks, Pat. Get out to a hot start. Calvin comes back on you guys, but then it looks like you guys got more control of the offense like you wanted.
Well, I thought we got off to a really good start offensively. It helps when shots are going down. We missed some ones that we're capable of making as the half went along. We've got to do a better job on the defensive glass. And then I think we got to get our wind a little bit too. I thought we were shuttling guys in and out and a little bit fatigued coming off the break, but hopefully we'll get our second win here in the second half.
A lot of times we had a lot of up and down game. Do you want to play the up and down, or do you want to slow this down?
No, we're willing to play any way that the game presents itself. Our guys share the basketball. We like to play up tempo and together if the opportunity arises. I thought we missed some opportunities actually to push the ball in transition, including at the end of the half there. But all in all. Hopefully we can come back with a better second half.
And what other changes do you want to make, or do you think you're doing well enough that it's more about tweaking?
Yeah, I think it's about fine-tuning. We got stuck at the end of drives a little bit, not knowing where our outlets were and some of our offensive options. So we got to do a better job in knowing where our teammates are in those situations. And then, like I said, clean up the defensive glass so we can get out in transition and maybe get some easy ones.
Very good. Good luck in the second half. Appreciate it. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Indeed, yeah, that gesture was a gesture of frustration by Matt Logie. He wanted Kenny Love to push it up in that last possession of the first half, and he did not. They held for the last shot. Whitworth came up empty, but they do lead by the score of 32-28. We'll have halftime stats when we come back in a little bit over 10 minutes. We're glad you joined us here for midnight basketball for you East Coast fans, or just a normal everyday evening game for those here in the Pacific time zone. At the D3Hoops.com Classic, it is Whitworth 32, Calvin 28 at the half. We'll be back in a bit. Back out here at the D3Hoops.com Classic, we are at the half, where Whitworth leads Calvin by the score of 32-28. Running through the halftime stats, starting with the Knights. They're led by Jordan Daly with 8 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 0 for 1 from downtown. Also an assist in his 15 minutes of action. Michael Welch off the bench, a perfect 2 for 2 from the floor and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. 7 points scoring in just 9 minutes of action. Then it's Mike Siegel with 6, Michael Wilkes with 4, and Austin Parks with 3. Then Cam Denny, Tony Canoni, Nick Kronemeyer, Nate Meppelink, Nate Drews all played but did not score for the total of 28 points. Calvin 11 of 29 from the floor, 37.9%, just 1 for 9 from downtown, 11.1%, and 5 for 6 from the foul line, 83.3%. Calvin out rebounding Whitworth at the break, 21-15. They turned the ball over 8 times compared to just 5 for the Pirates. And the Pirates are led by Kenny Love with 16 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 4 for 5 from downtown, and 2 for 2 from the foul line, 16 points in just 15 minutes of play. And then, of course, you go all the way down to George Valley with 4, Christian Gerlina with 2, along with Drew Sears, also Kyle Roach with a pair, AJ Grant with 2, Forrest Baker with 2, Derek Isaac with 2, and Matt Staudiker, Ben Bishop, and Alberto De Miguel played but did not score for the total of 32 points. For the Pirates, 13 of 30 from the floor. That's 43.3%. 4 for 10 from downtown and 2 for 2 from the foul line. I trust you can do the math on those. 4 ties, 2 lead changes in the first half, but don't let that give you the wrong impression, because Whitworth did lead for 16 minutes and 49 seconds, but however, they've led by as many as 11, led by 9 early, led by 11 with 5:29 to go in the first half, as we welcome back in Dave McHugh. And Whitworth maybe a couple of questionable decisions, at least one down the stretch that Matt Logie didn't like, and Calvin cut that back to 4 by the break.
Yeah, the one he didn't like was Kenny Love, who I thought made a good decision to hold on to the final possession, but he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity in transition. And
they came up empty on that.
They did end up coming up empty. So, coming back from the break, you still kind of getting the legs back underneath you. Not surprised that Calvin's in this.
Yeah, Calvin is coming off a 10-day layoff, so.
But they're a good team despite their record.
Yeah, I know when he said when he talked about starting slow and that sort of thing, that's what made me go back and look. And December 19th against Millsaps, the last time that Whitworth took the floor. That they are, of course, riding a 9-game winning streak here to start the season. They're coming at 9-0. Calvin comes in at 4-5. Calvin last played on December 19th as well. They lost at Anderson, 85-77. 2 teams that went to the round of 32 last year in the Division III men's basketball NCAA championship. And we've got them here as the last game of our sextuple header here on day 3 from the D3Hoops.com Classic.
Game after this?
The game after this would be Hope versus Whitman, right? Wouldn't that be a good one? I think about that as a doubleheader, huh?
Ooh. But Whitman would have to be here.
Well, so would Hope. In fairness. I don't think Hope is too upset with what they chose to do today. They defeated Messiah by the score of 80-58. Whitman, I'm not sure we'll see them back here after Eric Bridgeland got ejected from the last game that they were scheduled to play here. And we are back underway here in the D3Hoops.com Classic. Second half action from the South Point Arena. I'm Pat Coleman, joined by Dave McHugh here for our final game of the night, featuring the number 2 Whitworth Pirates and the Knights of Calvin, and a turnover underneath taken away by Whitworth. Whitworth working on the basket to our left here in the second half. Staudiker, Love, Gerlina, Sears on the floor along with George Valley. Foul trouble from the first half. Valley and Sears with 2. Nobody else on either team with more than 1. 3 team fouls for Calvin in the first half and 8 for Whitworth. Staudiker. Now Gerlina with it. Gerlina with the push-off, and that was easily noticed by just about everybody in the building. Right in front of us. right in front of our officials. Curtis Williams, along with Phil Thompson and Jeff Wells, in the stripes with the whistles, doing that important job tonight. And there is a turnover by Siegel, and then a steal on the other end by Drews. Siegel for Daly. Daly on the near wing, pulls it back out. 32-28, Whitworth with the 4-point lead, but Calvin with the basketball. Cannoni guarded by Love, steps in, 19-footer, nothing but the bottom of the net, and it is now a 2-point ball game, 32-30. Calvin led once, briefly in the first half. Battled back from that initial 11-2 deficit. While Kenny Love was on the bench, Love scored the first 11. And he finished the first half with 16. Gerlina backs it out, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Crossover, kicks it outside for Staudiker, dribbles in, 3 to shoot, floater, rattles around and off. Rebound, and it's brought down by Denny for the Knights. Calvin with a chance to tie or take the lead here in the early going of the second half against undefeated Whitworth. A 3 ball on the way, rattles around, and then back in for Mike Siegel.
Guess who just took the lead?
Calvin.
Yeah, nice job to start the second half here by the Knights. Coach Logie's got his arms crossed. I think he's just kind of letting his team figure themselves out here, but Calvin coming out and needed to make a statement early and have done just that.
Very active on the defensive end, but maybe a little overcommitted after Valley got the pass. He was easily open for the layup, and it's a 1-point lead against for Whitworth. Now there's 2 more lead changes. And keep track of those. We've got some of the finest Division III SIDs in the country working on the live stats issue. Let's see if we get those back going as Cam Denny finishes inside.
Yeah, it was actually a very nice initial effort by Daly to get to the basket, put up the shot, just didn't get it to fall, but a follow-up was even better, as basically both defenders had focused on Daly.
Another lead change, 35-34 Calvin. Valley, cross-port outside for Staudiker. Now Love, double-teamed as he gets in. Shot goes around and in for Sears off the feed from Love.
There you go, another lead change for you. I'm not sure. I thought Love was trying to get to the 3-point line with a pass, and I thought it got intercepted by Sears, but it ended up that I think the bounce was more towards Sears than I initially thought, as Sears handled it pretty nicely.
I thought that was intentional, and a nice backdoor cut there by Parks off the feed from Denny, and it is Calvin at the 37-36 lead. It's developed into a back-and-forth affair here in the second half, last game of the night, and it's a good one. Here's Gerlina at the foul line, off the back iron, no good. Sears trying to show the stronger side, and he goes with the hook, no good. Rebound around and off to Daly.
Good job fighting to get his position, but I think that just ended up forcing him into a shot he didn't like, but Sears then swats that attempt.
Yeah, he gets it back on the other end as Daly tried to put it up from 18, and it went about 2 feet, and there's a travel out of the perimeter by Staudiker.
I don't think Daly thought he'd get back there for that. I don't think Daly thought Sears had the ability to jump from the way that he was transitioning in that direction to get him, and he was painfully wrong there, as it was an easy block for Sears.
Glad you tuned us in. We're maybe a few minutes from putting an upset alert tag on this game. It's still early in the second half. Calvin up by 1 with the basketball against the second-ranked Pirates of Whitworth University. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh here for the final game of the night at the D3Hoops.com Classic. These two teams both play again tomorrow. There's 4 games. And a ball is stripped out of the hands of Denny, taken away by Whitworth.
4 games is going to seem like
Love 1 on 5. Left-handed layup doesn't fall, but it'll go to the line.
He can't believe it, but a great effort by Kenny Love there.
Well, seemingly an ill-advised effort, except he got it all the way to the rack and drew the foul.
That's true. But it's not like we haven't seen him do that before.
Nope. No, I did not really. I was not particularly surprised that he went 1 on 4, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. Love to the foul line.
Nate Drews picks up the foul.
2 for 2 on the night, make it 3 for 3.
Tying the ball game for us.
Love, as we mentioned before, coming into the night as a 93% free throw shooter.
Checking into the game for Calvin Nick Kronemeyer, and Michael Welch. Kronemeyer getting his first action tonight, the junior guard from Hamilton, Michigan, and Welch, the junior forward from Stevensville, Michigan.
Now, second shot is good, and Whitworth retakes the lead, 38-37. That's Daly looking in the low post for Welch, cutting baseline, now kicking outside. 3 ball on the way, off the front iron. No good by Drews and rebounded by Whitworth. A lot of talking in that after the switch in the defense there by Whitworth. Stodiker dribbles in, picks it up, kicks it outside for Love. 15 on the shot clock, 38-37 lead. 3 ball on the way. Off the front rim, no good, and rebounded by Welch.
It's a good attempt. That's Kenny Love's shot. Just didn't get it to kind of trickle over the edge that time.
Welch 4 for 5 from downtown in the first half. Hit the first 4, missed the 5th one in that last attempt of the first half. That's Welch on the baseline, inside for Daly, who's fouled.
Nice pump fake there by Daly. Got Sears moving, and Sears will pick up his 3rd. Sears, who averages a 1.7 blocks a game and is a pretty darn good shooter from the floor, is going to have to take a seat here for a little while to keep from getting a costly 4th personal.
He's already got 2 blocks tonight, and he will indeed take a seat. Checking back into the game, Forrest Baker for the Pirates, along with Ben Bishop. Derek Isaac into the game as well. Oh, it's those 3 plus Kenny Love and Jerlina on the floor right now for the Pirates. Second shot on the way by Daly, and it's good. So Calvin goes back up by 1, 39-38.
Checking back in for Calvin, Mike Siegel, and he will give Jordan Daly a break.
On the floor for the Knights, Wilkes, Drews, Siegel, Kronemeyer, and Welch. Jerlina puts up the baseline jumper, airballs it, rebound bobbled on the way out of bounds by Calvin. It will remain Whitworth ball with 13 to shoot.
Calvin's playing very smart in this game. They're not getting ahead of themselves, as the referees are going to have a conversation probably about the shot clock. And they're going to keep it at 13.
Yep, that's the right call.
Kenny Love started moving awfully early on that. Basically,
well,
he flips it to a guy in the middle and then takes off, but it almost seems like he's walking before he lets it go as Kenny drives the lane and draws the foul.
Love will go back to the foul line.
That's on Welch. Second. Pretty well played game so far. It's just fun to see Kenny Love yet again. See how much he's developed as a player since the last time we saw him.
First shot good, one more coming. Ties it up at 39.
It's nice to know a guy like Matt Logie likes this tournament enough to come back here often. It's not just the Chuck McBreens of the world that come here all the time.
Yeah, it's the second trip for Logie's team, 3rd trip for the Whitworth program in the 6 seasons that we've been holding this tournament. And Love's second shot is good, and the Pirates retake the lead, 40-39. First trip for the Knights of Calvin. I can't say we haven't been trying to get him out here for several years, so we're glad to see Calvin here.
If I remember correctly, Coach basically saying the difference in how funding was appropriated and allowed them to do this.
Exactly. Well, we're glad to see him. Shot clock at 10 for the Knights.
Now I'm working to get him to the Hoopsville Classic.
There you go. Kronemeyer steps in, has to force it up at the with the shot clock at 3.
I think Kenny got a hand on that. Kenny Love just before the release.
And on the other end, Love finishes the layup, and he'll go to the line.
He's got a different gear.
Yeah, I'm looking back at that kind of awkward shot at the end of the shot clock on the other end. I don't think he got a hand on it, but he did.
There's a little double clutch.
Yeah, well, he lost the handle on it just a little bit as he was doing his crossover dribble to try to get the separation from Love.
Gotcha.
But he had to try to force it up anyway because the shot clock was running down. So the free throw is good. So Whitworth up by 4. Here a 3-ball on the way, and it rattles in for Nate Drews. 53% from downtown in the season, and he puts that home to cut the lead to 1.
Calvin's not going away. Oh, no, it's near steal.
All right, everybody all right?
He landed really hard.
Right into our table. Gets up under his own power. I say that a little bit prematurely, but he...
That was an awkward landing, to say the least. Right underneath our graphic. It was designed that way. That way you wouldn't see anything in it, you know.
That's
it was
right.
bad.
We bleeped it out. That's
Believe it or not, the clock didn't move.
That's impressive.
South Point Arena crew, so amazing. Already up here to fix the tables. They do it so well here.
Everybody's been really happy with the way the tournament's been run here over the last 6 years. We just get to show up and broadcast some games, see some great Division III basketball, take a little credit. And the folks at the South Point Arena and then the folks at Sport Tours International do all the hard work and logistics and setting this stuff up. Shot off the window, no good, doesn't draw iron, and rebounded by Whitworth.
Just like that, 2 guys here fixing the table. I mean, it's outstanding. Can they come to all of our gyms? They're going to get a hold here on Calvin, I think. I think Michael Wilkes is going to pick this one up. Yep, Wilkes will get it. His man had beaten him back door. Wilkes decided to grab him, hold on to him, keep him from getting that opportunity.
Made it difficult for Bishop to operate there on the
Kinda
offensive
like in
end.
College football, if the guy beats you, you might as well hold on to you because at worst it's a 15-yard penalty versus a short touchdown.
There you go, and it's only the 4th team foul for Calvin, so not a shooting opportunity.
Back in the game for Whitworth is Staudiker.
Inbounds comes in, deflected. Bishop unable to hold on to it, and Siegel comes away with it for the Knights. 3-ball on the way at the other end, and burying it is Nate Drews, and Calvin back up by 2, 45-43.
I'm actually pretty impressed with how stoic Coach Van de Streek is on the sideline, considering how well this team is playing.
It seems like
I'm not saying he's a fiery guy, right? But I just mean he's not standing. He's letting these guys play. He's not overcoaching. It's nice to see he's got that much confidence in his team, despite what he thinks has not been a great year.
So Calvin down by 4 points just a couple of minutes ago, now back up by 2 with under 12 to go in the second half. And
that's going on Valley. That's going to be his 3rd. As Sears will check back in with 3 fouls. He will replace Bishop. And Jerlina will take a seat. I don't know who came in for Jerlina, though. I think it might be Kyle Roach. Roach is out on the floor, but Valley with 3 fouls will stay out there at 11:50 mark. Valley didn't like the call, but kind of was a little too handsy on the drive, and that's part of the calls these days. They don't want that.
Working on the baseline against Love is Daly. Spin move and stepped out of bounds in the process. Turnover for Calvin, and it will be Whitworth basketball. Whitworth with a chance to tie or take the lead here. 11:37 and counting remaining in the second half of action. Game 12/6th game of the day. Half of the D3Hoops.com Classic has taken place in this building today. And Dave and I have been in this building for all day and in this room for about 98% of it. Inside, a jumper is good for George Valley.
You mean the whole 6 years we've been here 98% of the time?
Well, that too.
But yes, today too. Enough to go get a drink and a bite to eat. That's about it.
And by that I think he means a caffeinated beverage. The other kind of beverages will come in about 10 minutes and 57 seconds or so. And here is a nice finish there by Cam Denny.
Yeah, Denny fouled the ball. Crashed the boards, fouled the ball. It wasn't a pass. It ended up in his hands, and he went for it. As far as the other beverage, I was tempted. I'll admit, tempted.
Can we get the livery from the saloon in the upper
There's
back
2 guys to your
here?
left who can certainly make that delivery happen. Yes.
I think Justin might get carded. Shot underneath by Sears is rejected, but he'll go to the line.
Sears will get a chance to try and tie this. Foul's going to be on Drews, his 2nd. What a low foul game. I mean, not a lot of fouls. They're letting the guys play without it affecting the game. I mean, a lot of the touch fouls that people get frustrated with have a lot more to do with the fact that they're keeping players from moving through the paint. And I think they're allowing players to still move without being ticky-tack on the foul calls.
First shot rattles home for Sears. Substitutions. Kyle Roach comes back into the game. A.J. Grant back.
Sears with an odd stat coming into this one. Only 9 for 9 from the free throw line.
Yeah,
He's only been there 9 times coming into this game.
Unusual a little bit for a big man.
For a guy who's played 9 games and started 9, yeah. That's really weird.
Tied up at 47 apiece. 10 minutes and 24 seconds to go here in regulation from the South Point Arena.
That 2-3 somewhat matchup zone from Whitworth.
Here's Cannoni driving left side, and he gets it to rattle in, and he'll go to the line and try to complete a three-point play himself.
Sears about a step late trying to get over there to be the help D. He's going to get picked up for the foul there. That is his 4th. That could be interesting here for Whitworth because he's going to have to sit for probably 7 minutes, though there's no sub for him right now. Oh, there it is, as Coach got the memo. Yep. Valley will check out with his 3 fouls, and now coming in is Ben Bishop, who will replace Sears. But, you know, I can't imagine he can afford to keep Sears. I mean, I can't afford to get him on the floor any sooner than about the 3-minute mark right now.
You know, see how, of course, how desperate the situation gets, right?
Absolutely.
Shot by Cannoni is no good, and Love with the rebound for Whitworth. But if Calvin starts having more success inside, or
might be forced to do it.
Or if they lack success on the offensive side, right? It's a little tough as a ball gets tied up. Arrow points towards Whitworth. It's a tough, obviously, to put a guy in with 4 fouls and need him to be super strong on the defensive end of the ball because that's where you take a lot of risk doing that. Bishop is a 6'8 freshman out of Olympia, Washington, averages just 2.2 points a game in limited action.
Kenny Love the previous time kind of just dribbled himself into trouble.
Shot clock at 10. Baker in the corner. Lifts it off for Jerlina. Shot clock at 5. And on his way up, enough contact that wasn't with the basketball.
Going to call it on Parks. He's not going to like the call, but it's his body that got him in trouble, not his hands. He's literally got the look of disbelief on his face. He did get it with his hands. It was just that he undercut Jerlina in the process.
Jerlina, 76% free throw shooter. First shot on the way, good. 6-team foul for Calvin, so Whitworth will be shooting the rest of the way as well. 5-team fouls for Whitworth here in the second half. Jerlina from Sydney, Australia. Second shot on the way. This one rattles out. Rebound tipped, and Daly comes up with it for the Knights. Well, Calvin still leads by 1, 49-48.
Jerlina, interesting enough, was the team's leading scorer and leading rebounder last season. Not the same role this year.
Oh, he is the leading scorer right now, though, or at least coming into the night, I should say.
But just not the same pressure on him to do it.
Here's Jerlina the other way, a 1-on-2, switches hands, shot no good. Rebound battled for, and coming out of the pile with it is Austin Parks.
I don't think he liked the fact felt he got shoved on the rebound. Hard to see from this angle if that's what happened, but he seemed to have that reaction.
Parks, floater from 14, no good. Gets his own rebound. Here's a jumper, count it, and going to the line. That's Michael Wilkes with a little 17-footer.
Ben Bishop's going to pick up the foul, his second. He just kind of plowed him over. Listen, you can run past him or fly past him if you need to, as Coach Logie's going to call a timeout here. But you can't go through him, and that's what Bishop did. 51-48, Calvin now with a 3-point lead. Chance to make it 4 at 9:01, and Coach Logie's being smart here, calling a timeout.
Yeah, this is a big turn of events, right? We talked about what was gonna be the possible result, right? When Drew Sears went to the bench with foul number 4 about 2 minutes ago, and a little bit right there is not that Ben Bishop had an opportunity to really defense that shot, but he went out there and made a bad decision, got called for the foul. And, right now on the other side, Whitworth hasn't really had an offensive set since Sears went. They've worked in transition a couple of times. Jerlina had what I thought was a pretty good drive to the basket that he just couldn't finish. And right now, Calvin's looking at an opportunity, as you said, to go up by 4.
Talking to Coach Herbrickmeyer of Bethel Women earlier, who's in the stands watching this game. He went to a Calvin practice at one point. He and his coaching staff just wanted to come and watch a Calvin practice while they were here. And he asked me, what do you think of the game? I said, well, on paper, Whitworth should win this. But we've seen a lot, and we know Calvin's a good, well-coached program, but we've also seen a lot here at the South Point Arena. Ramapo smoked Skidmore. I mean, anything's possible here.
And Calvin's proven that here. They're well coached. They're a good team. The record is deceiving. They've also had a very tough schedule. So pretty impressive here. 9-minute mark, and they're going to have a 3-point lead trying to go 4. And thank you, sir.
Yes.
A little stat update from
paper stats, dead stats.
Mr. Steve Flegel from Whitworth. Appreciate the effort from the man. As Calvin gets the extra point, now lead by 4, which I will now get to check is the biggest lead of the game for them.
There you go, and I just threw the upset alert on this game. Down by 4 is Whitworth, and right away Jerlina answers with a 3-pointer. It's his first 3 of the night. He was 1 for 10 from the floor before that
Coming
shot.
into the tournament.
He was 1 for 10 from the floor tonight.
From the floor, right. He's a 40% 3-point shooter. He's pretty good threat, and a steal by Jerlina.
Got the steal as Denny was looking to dump it underneath.
The bearded man has taken over a little bit here.
Jerlina. Outside for Roach. Roach cross-court pass for Grant. Calvin comes across. Here's Love for 3 off the back iron. Too strong and rebounded out in space by Meppelink.
Great passing, especially by A.J. Grant at the end, and then a bad pass there by Calvin's going to turn it over. You kind of feel the momentum going back and forth, a little bit more in Whitworth's favor maybe here, especially if they can take the lead, as Valley will check back into the game, and he'll give Kyle Roach a break.
Yeah, they were looking for Canoni on the baseline at the 6'2 sophomore out of South Haven, Michigan. If he'd been about 6'4, would have been able to get his hands on that one. Instead, Whitworth has a chance to retake the lead, but unable to do so. Grant pass picked off by Parks.
Yeah, that's a terrific steal by Parks. Just knew where it was going and timed it. Oh, it'd been better if he'd hit the shot, though. That would have been the great momentum move there, but falls short, and a good rebound here by Whitworth.
This game deserves more than 123 viewers, by the way. Where are you?
Absolutely.
You're missing out. I know it's been a long day. You probably got work tomorrow, but Calvin and Whitworth are working right now.
I got work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm here. Oh,
Well,
wait.
It's
Different kind.
sort of not
I'm
quite
kinda
the
here.
same.
I have
Yeah.
no choice. It's also earlier here than it is on the East Coast, but you figure Calvin fans would be up with this one, especially Whitworth fans.
Nate Drews and Michael Welch come back into the game for Calvin, and Canoni and Denny take a seat. Staudiker back in for the Pirates, and Love, free throw good, so he'll get another.
Another tie, shockingly enough.
Tied up at 52. 12 lead changes, I think about 5 ties, 6 ties in this game.
10.
Oh, hey, that's right, we have actual stats now. I've been kind of making hash marks on paper like I'm in the Stone Age. Whitworth retakes the lead. Is
Now
it really
11,
that's
12.
12. Yep.
Lead changes.
53-52, Whitworth with the lead. Calvin with the basketball. 7:20 and counting remaining in the second half. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh for D3Hoops.com. Who else would broadcast the D3Hoops.com Classic, right?
D3 football.
It's more or less the same people. There's a shot and a foul.
Be on, 30, legal screen on Michael Welch. It's going to be pick up his third. Team's 8th, which will send Ben Bishop to the line to shoot the 1-and-1. Where is our Ben Bishop?
He's just
4 for 10 coming into the game. Well, he hasn't shot that many.
He's a freshman. I'm not chanting that. I'm just saying he's a freshman. Banks it in off the glass for 2. Banks stay open late.
Vegas are open 24 hours.
Everything is.
Yep.
You don't know what time it is.
I don't actually. It's on my computer, but I don't want to look.
It's 12:28 Eastern, 9:28 Pacific, and the second shot for Bishop finds the net in a more conventional manner, and Whitworth's lead is back up to 3, 55-52.
Whitworth's biggest lead of this game has been 11. Late in the first half, 5 minutes left to go.
And pressure out on the perimeter, and Parks says the ball go into the backcourt. It's knocked into the backcourt. They have to push it back up, though, with 12 seconds to shoot.
Tried an interesting dribbling style there of sliding while dribbling, but didn't work out.
Long shot on the way by Parks with the clock ticking down. No good. Jerlina. Pass up ahead for Staudiker. Staudiker stops, pops, and hits.
You could argue he traveled. You know what? If
kinda
the refs
slid too.
well, that's a travel. And if the refs had spotted it, it would have been the right call, and that brought Coach Vandestreek off his bench, and now he's going to make sure the refs know he thought he slid, and I think he's got an argument there.
It is really tough. It is so...
And they're trying to mop the floor every chance they get.
Yeah, it is so dry here in the desert. You can have that stickum stuff and, you know...
Yeah, I think he slid. So, but, I mean, the guys are, literally every time out in a break, the guys are out here. They mop the three-point line. They mop the entire paint. They're doing their best to keep it from being a slippery surface. And honestly, we've seen the old floor was really slippery. This is nothing, but they're doing their best to make it as good as they can.
Is this the second year for this playing surface or the third now?
Third at least.
Yeah. And
it's used often.
And this is a multi-purpose facility.
Yes.
We mentioned arena and equestrian center. There's equestrian events. 24 equestrian events take place annually here. I've been watching the trivia on the Jumbotron here.
They also do motocross here.
Motocross and concerts and high school basketball. They had Division I teams in here a couple weeks ago, right before Christmas. Division II also. I didn't choose to talk about Division II.
Oh, Lord. If anyone wants to know, it's about the third time Pat's made that kind of reference.
Hey, you know what? It's 12 games. I'm pretty sure the audience kind of recycles.
No.
You have to hear it every time.
That's true.
At Calvin, now down by 5. Biggest deficit of the second half.
Coach Vandestreek with a few more. I'm not really talking to you, but I'm talking to you words to the official in front of him about that travel before the ball got inbounded again.
Or the non-travel. The travel that wasn't called.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There's a shot too wide off the window by Siegel, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be Whitworth ball.
Missing some opportunities are Calvin here, and keep an eye on that as we're 10 ties, 12 lead changes. Game's been tied for a total of 3+ minutes.
Calvin shooting 9 of 19 from the floor here in the second half. 3 of 5 from downtown. Whitworth 6 of 14 from the floor. 1 for 3 from downtown, but 12 for 13 from the foul line. Kenny Love, he's got 25 points. Crossover, dribbles into the lane.
That should go the other way.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, for Kenny Love, that's going to be foul number 2.
Kenny can't believe the call, but maybe even from this angle, the guy was parked. Kenny just rolled him over. He certainly wasn't in the arc. He was outside it, just rolled him over, and easy call for the officials to make. So it keeps 2 points from going on the board. Watching it again. Yeah, he's there. He was parked there before Kenny even started making his move to the basket.
Here's Siegel on the other end, and he will go to the line.
Valley will pick up his 4th. Valley can't believe it, but he's moving with him. He was moving with him. So as he made his spin move, Valley moved with him. And so that is going to be a foul on Valley. You can keep your arms up all you want, but if you're going to move your body, undercut him, it's going to be a foul. And Valley picks up his 4th. So now they got 2 guys in foul trouble here. Valley and Sears, who's been parked on the bench since about the 10-17 mark, is on the bench with 4 fouls as well. And checking into the game will be Kyle Roach off the missed free throw by Siegel, who's only 6 for 10 coming into the night.
And now 2 for 4 on the night, so make it 8 of 14.
Yep.
57.1% from the line.
Nick Kronemeyer checks into the game.
Down by 5, Calvin, make it 4. As Siegel puts it in,
that.
He gets into double figures with 10.
Needs to hit one more, but he needed to hit that.
Now Whitworth moving right to left across your computer monitor here in the second half. They have the lead in the leather. Love. Now
Nice ball
Jerlina
movement.
in the corner, back for Love. Staudiker wide open for 3, and he buries that one. Matt Staudiker, first 3 ball of the night for him. He's got 5 points, and the lead is up to 7.
Great ball movement by Whitworth.
5:11 to go here in the second half. Trying to come back the other way. Bishop is going to get credit for a blocked shot on Welch. At least he should get credit.
He better get credit because that was pretty good. And Whitworth clearly has the momentum now.
Love steps in.
I think they saw your tweet with the upset alert tag.
Hey, it's whatever it takes to light a fire, right? Swing near side for Jerlina. Dribbles in. Pulls up in the lane and buries that one. Christian Jerlina, he's got 8. And the lead is up to 9.
Again, ball movement, moving as a team, flowing, knowing where your team's going to be. And Coach Vandestreek knows he's lost momentum here. He needs to get his Knights back in gear. Down 9. Calling timeout, 4:36 left. This is a make or break point of this game.
Yeah, it is absolutely because, Calvin's on the verge of this getting away from him, right? Calvin hasn't had a very good look on the offensive side of the floor now for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and they need to start putting some points on the board. They were going back and forth, right? We talked about all the lead changes. Score's been tied 10 times, leads changed hands 12 times, but now Whitworth, after those back-to-back possessions by Jerlina, getting them back in the lead. Now they've edged it out to a 9-point advantage.
Absolutely. And, Calvin's got to realize that they can't waste opportunities on the other end of the floor. They have to take advantage of every offensive end. Whereas Whitworth is doing that, and they're doing it by finally getting back in sync on offense and playing together. And we'll see what happens here as Calvin will rev up the engine here with 4:30 left and trailing by 9.
And we have live stats.
Yeehaw!
Just in time for the final 4:25 of the ball game. Thanks for Steve Flegel from Whitworth for helping that happen. And ball knocked out of the hands of Cam Denny, and Calvin will retain possession with 7 to shoot.
And you see Coach Van de Streek's down on his feet. This is what I meant. I was amazed that his team was doing so well. And now this is what I expected. I expected him to be on his feet, coaching up his team here. And now he's got it. And I think this team's got a chance and a timeout call because they couldn't get the ball inbounded. That's not going to make the veteran ball coach all too happy.
So Calvin takes timeout with 4:18 to go. They've got
remaining.
2 left.
2 remaining with 4:18 left. That's tough. That's a
but it's
timeout you don't want to call, but you have to call.
Yeah, dude, you can't afford to make a mistake here. 2 things that in favor of making this call, right, Dave? One is that the 5-second clock for inbounding was ticking down. Also, if you can't just throw a long desperation pass because the shot clock's at 7, so you can't just default inbound it into the backcourt because that would take too much time and not allow them to get off a decent-looking shot. For Calvin, Daly with 10, Siegel with 10, Welch and Wilkes with 7, Drews with 6 in the second half. Calvin shooting 47% from the floor, 3 for 5 from downtown, but those numbers actually haven't moved in a little while. On the Whitworth side of the ledger, 25 points for Kenny Love. What's Twitter saying?
John Gleach. He
Yeah,
said
John
the upset alert was Calvin's kiss of death, either that or me turning on the game.
Yep.
Another.
Well, you only throw out upset alert when things.
When it's necessary.
Yeah, exactly. And Whitworth realized it was in that situation just as easily, and putting it up right away off the inbounds is Daly, and he'll go to the line.
6 seconds on the shot clock, and Daly forces Whitworth to bail them out.
Remember that Whitworth has done all of this with Sears on the bench, picked up foul number 4 just before the 10-minute mark.
Yep. About 10:17 left, and he's been parked there now for 6 minutes. We figured he'd be there for about until the 3-minute mark. They haven't been desperate enough to get him back out here.
Nope, haven't needed him. Here's Daly at the line to shoot his first one is good. 65% free throw shooter on the season. Calvin as a team, 69% from the charity stripe. Whitworth, 78%.
Calvin is actually out rebounding Whitworth, 30-28.
Second shot is good, so that cuts the lead down to 7.
Heard somebody on Calvin saying, hey, we need stops.
That is true.
Yes, very true.
Kenny Love with the basketball for Whitworth, drives baseline, a little up and under move, and he's going to draw the blocking foul.
And that time it's because the defender was moving. Daly doesn't like it, but he's cutting him off. He'll pick up his second foul.
Love back to the line where he is already 9 for 9 on the night.
He's a 93.3% free throw shooter, which is a darn good stat, but apparently not good enough to be in the top of the NCAA stats, apparently. I think I would have spotted that if it was. It was somebody else whose free throw percentage was astronomical, but didn't count because they didn't make enough per game to qualify.
Makes them both, and the lead is back up to 9.
Can't believe Kenny Love would be in that category, but maybe.
9 team fouls in each direction, so it'll be double bonus the rest of the way here for the final 4 minutes. 64-55. Calvin down by 9, needing some offense here, and quickly on the inside, Daly draws another foul, and he will go back to the line, and Jerlina comes out having maybe twisted the ankle up a little bit. Jerlina will pick up foul number 3. He's got 3. Valley has 4. Sears has 4.
That's pretty much it.
And Sears and Valley have been off the floor together for about the last 4 minutes, and of course an even longer absence for Sears, as the first one is good for Daly. Daly 5 for 5 from the foul line now on the night. Second shot, and that one's good. Keeping a minute, down by 7, 64-57 with 3:51 to go, and finally it's Drew Sears coming back into the basketball game. So is George Valley.
6.5 minutes. Sears on the bench of game time action.
Now the starting 5 on the floor right now for the Pirates: Staudiker, Love, Jerlina, Valley, and Drew Sears in the white, working right to left. Staudiker thought about the 3. Haven't been falling for him too much tonight.
Nope.
Love on the baseline, double team back outside. Staudiker thinks about the 3 at the top of the key. Kicks it back out for Love. Shot clock at 8. And he is going to draw the contact from Jordan Daly.
That'll be Daly's 3rd.
Love back to the line. Whitworth up by 7 with 3:26 to go. Love can make it 9. First shot on the way, and that one is no good off the back iron. These teams come back tomorrow. Whitworth faces Mary Hardin Baylor at 4 p.m. Pacific time, followed by Calvin at St. Vincent. That'll be the last game of the D3Hoops.com Classic. Loves makes the second one, so it's an 8-point advantage, 65-57. If you're joining us for the last 3:21, welcome. It's the last game of 6 here today at the D3Hoops.com Classic. I'm Pat Coleman with Dave McHugh, and a baseline jumper rolls around and in for Michael Wilkes.
I was checking in on Kenny Love's statistics on the free throw line, and I have a feeling that he just doesn't
get there
have
often
enough.
Yeah.
It surprises me, but you got to make 2.5 per game to qualify for the stat, and apparently he must not.
Well, 12 for 13 today will help that.
That will help greatly.
Jerlina out on the perimeter, dribbles in, spin move, tries to dump it off and leaves it short, and it's easily collected by Parks. Calvin trying to push the ball up the floor here. 2:41 to go. They're down by 6.
Not over. Not over. Ramapo showed that. Ramapo, about this point in the game, same difference, was able to get it tied. So this is far from over.
Earlier this afternoon, they tied it up against St. Vincent, although St. Vincent won it with 1.2 seconds to go and a turnover by Michael Wilkes.
I think Wilkes started to turn without the ball. He started to make a decision, didn't have the ball in his hands, and Whitworth's going to call a timeout as Coach Logie wants to kind of prep his team for the run of this, but I think that's just an unfortunate time turnover for Calvin there.
Coming up tomorrow in the D3 Hoops Classic, we actually start at noon Pacific with a men's game. Skidmore facing Wisconsin Stout, followed by women's action between the University of La Verne and St. Vincent. St. Vincent men and women are here. That's the St. Vincent women at 2. St. Vincent men at 6 versus Calvin, preceded by Mary Hardin Baylor and Whitworth at 4 p.m. That's games 13.
Really?
Well, that's what the schedule says. I was a bit surprised myself.
I had that a different way. I had the women's game at 12 and the men's game at 2. But
same here. But Justin and I are calling both of those games, so we'll just see which 2 teams show up and
just make sure I got the right graphic up. How about that?
That'd be helpful, and send it to the right stream.
Yep.
Right?
That's we'll just make sure we got that right info going.
So 2:25 to go. Whitworth going to be a little more deliberate here, I'm sure, coming out of the timeout with a 6-point lead. They can work away almost about 20% of what's remaining of this basketball game. Staudiker looking at the low post extended for Valley. Valley double team, dribbles out, shot clock at 11. Still double teamed, and Kenny Love calling a timeout at midcourt, so Whitworth will get the timeout. They have 1 remaining with 2:04 to go. Calvin still with 2 timeouts to go. Double bonus either way, and the possession arrow, if it comes down to it, points towards Calvin.
Valley was frustrated, probably was looking for foul, to be honest with you. I think it was a good no call. Thought Calvin's defense did a really nice job trapping him, and he was the one who was initiating the contact, especially when he eventually fought through the double team and got his elbow up a little bit on the defensive player, but at that point the timeout had already been called, so it was irrelevant.
But I know he was getting a little frustrated out there. I think the whole team's a little frustrated. I think they respected Calvin. I think they knew they'd get a game from Calvin. I just don't think they thought they'd be in a fight with Calvin.
Both starting fives on the floor for each team, except Wilkes is in place of Siegel for Calvin. Love with the basketball, 6 to shoot. And he traveled,
Dragged his foot. He can't.
He looked over at the official.
And then changed his mind. I think he knows he dragged his pivot foot. I saw it actually move from visible to behind the ref.
Yeah.
It's only one way that happens, and the ref didn't move.
65-59, Calvin. Down by 2 possessions here with $1:52 to go. 3 ball on the way, and Cannoni hits the bottom of the net but neglects the cylinder, and it will be rebounded by Love.
It's a tough shot to put up over Jerlina, who's in great defensive position there. I think that's one you got to start look for the next pass and move on.
Jerlina almost dribbles it off his foot but collects it. Valley with the ball, shot clock at 12. Love calling out a new play here with the shot clock at 8. Takes it himself, pull up from the elbow, doesn't get the roll off the window. Sears battling for the rebound, and there is a foul.
Going against Calvin.
Double bonus, remember the rest of the way.
I think it's on Denny. Just waiting. Nope, it's on Wilkes. That's his second foul. It'll send Sears to the line, who we pointed out earlier has not been there much this season either.
9 and 9 coming into the day. 2 of 2, now 3 of 3 today.
So far, Whitworth doing a very good job of just keeping Calvin at arm's length. And right now, I think that's the best to do.
Sears remains perfect on the season from the foul line, 13 of 13. Also not enough to qualify for the national leaderboard.
No, not quite.
So Cannoni with the basketball now down by 8. Here's a 3 ball on the way from the corner, and hitting it is Michael Wilkes. Cuts the lead down to 5, 67-62. Clock rolling at 1:03 to go.
Just be smart here if you're Whitworth. Even if you don't get any points here, just use the clock so that Calvin doesn't get a couple free opportunities.
Love guarded by Cannoni, gives it up for Jerlina. Stodiker just running some clock, shot clock at 15, game clock at 50. 5-point lead for Whitworth, and Love almost lost the handle on it.
Valley bailed him out by getting to the ball first.
Shot clock at 5. Love pushing it up, pull up from 22. Off the front iron, no good. Battle and a high for the rebound. Calvin comes down with it. Wilkes pushing it up ahead to Denny, now down by 5.
But Whitworth wasted 30 seconds.
They did. They ran a lot of that clock off. Dribbling in, up and under. No, kicking it outside. 3 ball on the way. Rattles in for Denny, and it is a 2-point game with 18.3 to go. Calvin takes a timeout.
But how big was it that Whitworth on the previous possession was able to use practically 30 seconds of the clock up? Even if they don't come away with points, it's 18.3 on the clock. Instead, Valley bails him out of a mistake. If Valley can't get to that ball, Calvin's got a chance of making it a 2 or 3 point game with a good 15 seconds still on the clock.
Yep.
So how big was that possession despite the points?
Absolutely. So with 18.3 to go, obviously Calvin is going to have to resort to fouling if they can't steal the inbounds or can't, somehow, force a 10-second call in the backcourt. I haven't seen Calvin have that kind of pressure, though.
No, I don't think so either. I just think that the best, Calvin's going to have to get that. If they can't, they're going to have to immediately foul. But the problem is, who do you pick? Sears is a good free throw shooter. Valley's a good free throw shooter. Jerlina's a good free throw shooter. Roach is a solid free throw shooter. Love is amazing. You're not going to have a lot of options out there that aren't going to hurt you. So you really have to go for the steal here or get a turnover in some capacity, because I don't think a free throw game plays into Calvin's favor right now.
Now Calvin down by 2 with 18.3 to go. Whitworth can run the baseline here.
Quick thought. Hope it would help. Someone turned in hoping this game would help. Hope's SOS. It's still going to help their SOS.
Yeah, that is true. It's a double out of bounds pass. Well, it'll help it more if they win.
But it would help
as the pressure in the backcourt is working, and Love has to take a timeout with 9.9 to go.
Nearly got the steal. And then on top of that, nearly got the turnover. Whitworth tried to get creative with the behind,
The double out of bounds pass. I like that, actually.
I like it, but I think a lot of teams are like, you were already in a full court press. What you just didn't change us. But
yeah, I like the double out of bounds pass
do
leading
too.
to a baseball pass that gets it into the front
that's
court.
really fun.
Yeah, I find that to be particularly effective here. A really good job by Calvin just swarming the Whitworth ball handlers, and they never got it up court more than about 15 feet.
No, which means it's going to be in the same spot, 94 feet for the basket.
Do they reset the 10 here?
Yes, they will reset the 10 because the offense called timeout.
The official just told them, says Larry Radloff, that they have to get it at the front court. I agree with you, Dave. I think Dave knows the rule
That's the part of the
correctly.
rule that I thought changed and didn't.
I understand what you're saying. I understand, Larry, that they said that, but I'm not sure that's correct in men's basketball.
That's the
in
part of the
women's
rule I
basketball
thought
it is.
changed. I thought that rule changed, and I was told that rule didn't. They can bail themselves out with a timeout.
Regardless, here now Whitworth is
We'll
out
see
of
what
timeouts.
happens, though. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's what the teams are aware of this. Now everybody gathered in the front court here is a inbounds pass to taken away almost, and it's going to go out of bounds. We're looking for Love in the right place in the front court, but unable to control the ball as it comes from out of bounds. Now here's Valley to inbounds right in front of our position here with 8.5 to go.
Valley want to make sure he can throw it into the backcourt.
Gets it into Staudiker, and Staudiker is fouled immediately by Daly.
Staudiker is 78% free throw shooter.
Yeah, Whitworth as a team shoots 78%. There are not a lot of good options for Calvin to foul here.
No, he is. I went through this and I couldn't find one. I really couldn't. Except if Gabriel was playing in this game, but he hasn't taken a shot. He's played in 3 games and he's a scratch for this one.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not here tonight. So.
Dave McGrail is 0 for 2 on the season.
All right, first shot good for Staudiker. Remember, Calvin has 1 timeout remaining. They have the possession arrow, but a free throw here is going to make this very difficult for Calvin, and missed off the front end. Calvin going to push the ball up the floor. Here's Cannoni. Dumps it off. Shot in the corner on the way. A 3 to tie. No good, and time expires as Whitworth holds on to defeat Calvin by the score of 68-65.
If you're Calvin, that's a win. Your season's been so struggling, you can't got down to the last shot against Whitworth. I know it's not going to go in the stat column as that, and it's going to sting that you lost that game, but you can take a ton of things out of this game into the rest of the season. The fact that you hung with Whitworth, a team that I don't think anyone thought you could because of how your season's been going, and you came up to a shot at the end, that's an outstanding game by Calvin.
Yeah, it's a moral victory that perhaps in a couple of hours they'll be able to look back and think about how they did that. Right now, though, you saw, I believe it was Denny, just collapsed to the floor in pain after his shot rattled out.
It hurts. And, Denny got forced to double take it. And that was a great defensive effort by Whitworth to force him to think about the shot. Sometimes the best shots by the best shot takers are ones they don't think about. If you get them to double clutch, if you get them to pump fake and think about their shot, that's just enough sometimes to throw them off, and that clearly is what happened that time. And it's great effort. I mean, great game all around. I am so thrilled with that game. Again, on paper, Whitworth should beat Calvin. Thankfully, in reality, that's not at all what happened.
I'm just looking at it again. They push the ball up the floor, 7.4 seconds left.
Look at that.
They get one look in the corner. He has to double clutch to avoid a leaping Jerlina, and just unable to connect. And Whitworth holds on for the 68-65 victory. Well, how about that? That's a good game to end a 6-game day with.
Absolutely. Another terrific game.
So Whitworth holds on. They improve to 10-0. Calvin falls to 4-6 on the season. And we finish with a 68-65 win for Whitworth. Running down the final stats. First for the Knights, led by Jordan Daly. He had 14 points, 4 for 10 from the floor, 0 for 2 from downtown, a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line, and a team high 5 rebounds. Michael Wilkes with 12, 5 for 8 shooting, 1 for 1 from downtown, 1 for 1 from the line. Then it was Mike Siegel with 10, 3 for 5 from the floor, 1 for 1 from 3-point range, and 3 for 5 from the line. Cam Denny with 7, Michael Welch with 7, 6 for Nate Drews, 5 for Austin Parks. Cannoni with 4. Kornemeyer and Meppelink played but did not score for the total of 65 points. Switching to the Whitworth side of the ledger. Now we'll go to the totals for Calvin instead. 23 of 55 from the floor for 42%. 6 of 18 from downtown at 33%. 13 of 16, 81% from the charity stripe on the night for Calvin. Calvin out-rebounded Whitworth 32 to 31. They turned the ball over 15 times compared to 14 for the Pirates. And the Pirates, as they improved to 10-0, they were led by who else? Kenny Love, 6 of 13 from the floor. 4 for 8 from downtown, made his first 4, missed his last 4. 12 for 13 from the line, who mentioned the 28 points in 35 minutes. And then it's Christian Gerlina with 8, 3 for 12 from the floor, 1 for 2 from downtown, but a big spark when Calvin was up by 2 possessions. He came in and sparked them, got the lead back. Valley with 8, Drew Sears with 8, Matt Staudiker with 6, Roach, Grant, Baker, Isaac, and Bishop each with 2. For the Pirates, and Alberto De Miguel played but did not score for the Pirates for the total of 68. 21 of 48 from the floor, 44%. 6 for 15 from beyond the arc, 40%. And 20 for 23 from the line. Whitworth came into the night shooting 78% from the foul line, and they were 87%. A big total for them on the night from the foul line.
81% for Calvin. It was a well-played game by both parties. The only thing, a lot of turnovers, 29, but considering how well the defenses were playing for both teams, that's not that surprising.
We mentioned the 10 ties and the 12 lead changes. Pretty even in the paint. Calvin with 22, Whitworth with 20. Whitworth with 13 points off of the 15 Calvin turnovers, and Calvin made 8 off of the 14 turnovers by Whitworth's second chance points. Pretty even. Dave, this game pretty much came down to a couple of things, right? Kenny Love hot early. Calvin battles back into it with persistence, with
several times.
Taking care of the basketball. They only turned the ball over 7 times in the second half. They shot a little bit better in the second half. They really shot well from 3 in the second half. Even though that last shot didn't fall, they were 5 of 9 in the second half from 3, and that got them back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Love played extremely well to start the game. Calvin fought back several times in this game, which was great. And Whitworth kept their head. That's the biggest key, is Whitworth kept their head and got back into their offensive sinks when they needed to. And again, how big was that possession that kept Calvin from having extra chances at the end of this game? It was just a well-played game on all parts. I think Calvin can take a lot out of this game moving forward. Tomorrow they play
St. Vincent.
St. Vincent, who's going to be a tough test. It's definitely going to be a different style of basketball than they're going to see out of Whitworth. Which will keep them on their toes. I think that's going to be a good test for Calvin, especially coming off of what might be a little bit of a mental, letdown. Thank you. From this one, they're going to have to keep their heads about them. Whitworth, in the meantime, is going to get a good battle, at least with Mary Hardin-Bale, in the sense that that's another style. They're not unfamiliar with it. They've seen Mary Hardin-Baylor before, but they've got to keep from having a mental letdown off of this one, going, all right, we beat Calvin. They're the best team we probably have. Because Ken DeWeese got his team rolling after the first half of their very first game, got them rolling in the second half, and they played pretty well in their second game. You can't count out the Crusaders either.
And I want to harken back to something you said about a minute ago. You talked about how well Whitworth ran down the clock in their final full possession. They ran down the clock really well in the previous full possession too. With about 2.5 minutes left, right?
Yep.
They had an opportunity to run 30 seconds off of the game clock, and they ran about 27 of them.
27, yeah.
Yeah. And then they did that again in their penultimate possession, their semifinal possession, and really made it very difficult for Calvin. They didn't have an opportunity to set things up. But interestingly, though, right, Calvin leaves a timeout on the board. They get that rebound. Obviously, we know the two schools of thought, right? You either choose to push and try to take the team push the team off guard, or you take the timeout to set up something that you think might work.
I think off a missed free throw in that scenario, you want to take the unsettled position or situation, right, especially because the other team's going, oh, my own teammate missed the rebound, I got to get back. Or missed a shot, I got to get back. So I think in that scenario, I am not surprised they don't call timeout. If they had maybe 7 or 8 seconds on the clock and they push down, they don't get a good look immediately, they might call timeout then with 3 or 4 to try and set something up. But I think you go with the momentum there. No, I think calling a timeout actually hurts you there with so little time on the clock, because it allows the defense to set up and basically stifle any chance you're going to have because they know you have to hit a 3. They know they can just sit on the 3 and wait for you.
We'll be back out here at noon tomorrow for the final day of the D3Hoops.com Classic. Skidmore versus Wisconsin Stout, Laverne versus St. Vincent Women, UMHB versus Whitworth Men, and Calvin versus St. Vincent Men. The final 4 of our 16 games here from the D3Hoops.com Classic. Also, follow on D3Hoops.com. We've got interviews with planning interviews with each of the 15 teams. We've gotten, I think, about 8 of them in the can. Is that right?
I've lost track. I'm going to have to go count again.
I think we have to interview basically everybody tomorrow except for Mary Hardin Baylor and St. Vincent. So hopefully we have 9 of the 15 because I believe we have 6 left to go.
I got 7. Yep, sorry.
Well, maybe something not uploaded yet. I don't know.
Nope.
7. We have 8 teams left. 2 of which we've already interviewed. Do we have to grab someone right now? Do we have Pac Lutheran up? Yeah, Pac Lutheran's been taped though, so we got that. Well, Dave and I will take care of our logistical business off the air. Gordon, the king of long post-game shows, is going, why are you guys still on the air?
We're not sure why we are, Gordon. We really don't know.
Copyright broadcast of Division III basketball at the D3Hoops.com Classic is a property of D3Hoops.com and intended solely for the private personal use of our audience. Any other broadcast, rebroadcast, or the use of descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of D3Hoops.com is strictly prohibited. The final score of our final score of the night. Second-ranked Whitworth defeats Calvin by the score of 68-65. For Dave McHugh, for Gordon Mann, for Justin Sweeney, and for everybody else here at the South Point Arena in the Sport Tours International and the D3Hoops.com Classic, I'll say good night or perhaps good morning.